She was just a waitress, running orders and refilling drinks until a rich, arrogant man dared to mock her. He thought he was in control, that she'd be embarrassed. But one touch of the piano keys later, the entire restaurant went silent. Every eye on her, every mouth hanging open. What happened next left him speechless, and changed her life forever. "You there, yes you. Come here." The sharp command cut straight through the mellow jazz drifting across the Golden Spoon, a cozy restaurant known not just for its warm meals, but for the comforting atmosphere regulars loved so much. It was a packed Friday night. Servers zigzagging between tables, the kitchen clattering nonstop, and conversations blending into a soft, pleasant hum. Maya, a young black waitress with a polite smile that hid just how exhausted she was, had been working double shifts all week. Still, she moved with grace, balancing plates and greetings effortlessly. She was used to difficult customers, but tonight's trouble arrived wrapped in a tailored three-piece suit and a towering sense of entitlement. Richard Sterling, wealthy investor, infamous for both his money and his ego, sat surrounded by business associates at a table overflowing with laughter, half-finished wine glasses, and the kind of arrogance only money seems to buy. When Maya approached to refill their drinks, Richard gave her a slow, mocking smirk. "You look like someone who knows how to entertain," he said loud enough to pull attention from surrounding tables. "Tell me, can you play the piano?" Maya froze mid-reach, not because the question surprised her, but because she could play, better than nearly anyone who had ever touched the restaurant's aging upright piano. Music had been her world once, before life forced her into survival mode, but she didn't appreciate being put on display, especially by someone clearly trying to make a spectacle of her. Richard leaned back with a grin that curled unpleasantly. "What's wrong? Don't all of you know how to sing and dance?" A few of his guests chuckled, their laughter cutting deeper than any insult. Maya swallowed the sting rising in her chest. "I can play," she answered evenly, "but I'm working right now." "Oh, come on," Richard said with a lazy flick of his hand. "One little song. Think of it as the tip." Her jaw tightened. The words burned, but after a slow, steadying breath, she nodded. "Fine." Something deep inside her whispered that this man had absolutely no idea what he was about to witness. The piano in the corner stood beneath a warm yellow lamp, its chipped wooden frame holding years of forgotten melodies. It was more decoration than instrument these days, collecting dust instead of applause. Still, to Maya, it looked like a door she hadn't opened in far too long. As she walked toward it, Richard began clapping dramatically, each exaggerated clap echoing through the restaurant like a taunt. "Everyone gather around," he shouted, raising his wine glass as if announcing a circus act. "Let's see what our waitress can do. Maybe we'll discover a hidden talent." The way he stretched the word talent made it drip with sarcasm, as if he fully expected her to embarrass herself. Customers exchanged uneasy glances. Some frowned, others shifted uncomfortably in their seats, but curiosity held them still. The air felt heavier, charged with tension. Maya pulled out the worn bench and sat down softly. Her fingers hovered above the keys, trembling not from fear, but from memory. The moment her fingertips brushed the surface of the piano, it felt like reconnecting with an old friend, one who remembered her at her best. It had been months since she had played publicly, months since her mother fell ill, forcing Maya to put her dreams aside, to juggle multiple jobs, just to keep the family afloat. The music in her heart had grown quiet, buried under exhaustion and responsibility. Behind her, Richard leaned in toward his guests, speaking loudly enough to ensure the entire restaurant heard him. "I bet she can barely get through Twinkle, Twinkle." Laughter erupted from his table, sharp, mocking, slicing through the silence around her. Maya closed her eyes. She inhaled slowly, centering herself. If Richard wanted a show, she would give him one. But it would not, in any universe, be the one he imagined. Her fingers moved, not timidly, not hesitantly, but with purpose, bold, confident strokes that struck the keys like sparks igniting a storm. In an instant, the restaurant's chatter melted away. Conversations died mid-sentence. Silverware paused midair. The very air seemed to hold its breath as Maya poured herself into the piano. She began with a low, warm ripple, a soft introduction to summertime. But her version was unlike anything most people had ever heard. It wasn't just played. It was lived. Her left hand kept a steady, rich rhythm, grounding the song with a heartbeat-like pulse. Meanwhile, her right hand soared effortlessly, weaving shimmering melodies that rose and fell like waves of gold. The notes didn't just fill the room. They wrapped around every listener, tugging at emotions they didn't even know were sitting beneath the surface. The music carried warmth. It carried sorrow. It carried resilience. Every note told a story of late nights practicing until her fingers ached. Every pause whispered memories of her mother, cheering her on. Every chord revealed the dreams she had tucked away when life demanded too much. Customers leaned forward without realizing it. Someone near the bar whispered, "My God." A couple at a corner table held hands, tears sliding silently down their cheeks. Even the kitchen staff, usually rushing nonstop, peeked through the swinging doors, drawn in by the magic unfolding before them. But no one was more affected than Richard Sterling. At first, he smirked, expecting a clumsy beginner's tune. Then his expression shifted, confusion creeping in. Finally, disbelief. His arrogance drained from his face. His jaw hung open as he stared at Maya, unable to comprehend how the woman he mocked moments earlier had transformed into a world-class performer right before his eyes. This was not the playing of a hobbyist. This was discipline, passion, mastery. When Maya struck the final lingering chord, it hovered in the air like a soft goodbye before fading into stillness. Then an explosion of applause. Thunderous, overwhelming, shaking the wooden floors beneath them. Everyone clapped. Everyone except Richard. He sat frozen, utterly speechless. After several long, breathless moments, Richard slowly rose from his chair and walked toward Maya. The once towering arrogance he wore like a designer suit had melted off him completely. Now he looked almost small, unsure, a man stripped of the shield his wealth usually gave him. His steps were hesitant, as if he wasn't sure he had the right to approach her at all. When he finally reached the piano, he cleared his throat. Where did you learn to play like that?" he asked softly. His eyes remained downcast, unable to meet hers. Maya turned slightly on the bench, her expression calm but guarded. "My mother is a pianist," she said, her voice gentle yet firm. "She taught me everything before she got sick. I had scholarships lined up, music schools ready to take me. But life got complicated. So here I am." Before Richard could respond, the restaurant manager hurried over, practically glowing with pride. "Maya, why didn't you ever tell us you had talent like this?" he exclaimed. "That was absolutely incredible." She offered a small shrug. "It never felt like the right time," she admitted, "and I didn't think anyone would care." A woman from Richard's table stepped forward, her eyes shining. "You belong on a stage," she said sincerely, "not running around refilling water glasses." Richard swallowed hard, guilt flickering across his face. I owe you an apology," he began, each word sounding heavier than the last. "I was out of line. Truly." Maya nodded politely, though her eyes held a quiet strength. "Thank you," she said, "but your apology doesn't erase what you tried to do. I hope, next time, you think before trying to belittle someone." The crowd murmured in agreement, some nodding, others staring pointedly at Richard. He lowered his gaze, shame settling over him. "You're right," he whispered. Then, unexpectedly, he reached into his suit jacket and pulled out a sleek business card. I own a foundation," he explained, offering it to her. "We support musicians. Financial help, connections, training, whatever they need. If you're willing, I'd like to help you get back to music." The entire restaurant seemed to hold its breath. Maya stared at the card, her mind racing. A part of her wanted to refuse, to walk away from everything he represented. But then she thought of her mother's dream, their dream, and the sacrifices that had brought her to this moment. Slowly, she reached out and took the card. 2 months later, the golden spoon was unrecognizable, not in its charm, but in the energy that now filled it. The old, dusty upright piano had been replaced by a gleaming grand piano, its polished surface reflecting the soft golden lights above. The moment Maya sat down each weekend to play, the room seemed to transform. Conversation softened, forks paused midair, and the hum of the restaurant became a gentle accompaniment to her music. Maya herself had changed. No longer just a waitress hustling from table to table. She was now the restaurant's featured musician, a star in her own right. She performed with the confidence of someone finally reclaiming a dream that had been on hold for too long. Her fingers moved with the same grace, precision, and passion that had silenced Richard Sterling weeks earlier. Only now her music carried the quiet pride of a woman who had fought for her place. Word of Maya's talent spread like wildfire. Videos of her performances went viral, earning thousands of views overnight. She was contacted by music producers, invited to record her first demo, and offered opportunities that had once seemed impossible. But more importantly, her mother, now receiving treatment thanks to the support of Richard's foundation, smiled again, a brighter, more hopeful smile than Maya had seen in years. And Richard, he attended her first public concert, not in the front row, not flaunting wealth or influence, but quietly in the back, clapping along like everyone else, humbled by what he had witnessed and proud in a way he hadn't known possible. Maya's story traveled far beyond the walls of the Golden Spoon. It became a testament to the fact that true talent often hides in unexpected places, that judgment based on appearance or position can blind people to extraordinary gifts, and that perseverance, grace, and courage can change lives in ways no one can predict. Sometimes, the people we underestimate the most are the ones who leave the world utterly speechless. Maya's talent was hidden, underestimated, and almost ignored until she proved the world wrong. Remember, your dreams don't need permission, they need courage. If her story inspired you, hit like, subscribe, and share, because sometimes the people you overlook are the ones who leave everyone in awe.